My whole concern with this whole deal is the proximity to the terrorists, the proximity to these radical Islamic militants that have been at war with Russia for about 150 years. It gives everybody great pause. I have not seen an Olympic Games with this much of a threat out there. It's not theoretical. We've seen 3 suicide bombers already.
That's House Homeland Security Secretary Committee Michael McCaul with me earlier today, expressing fears that the safety of the upcoming Sochi Games could be in peril. Turns out the National Hockey League shares those concerns. That league confirming now that it could decide to keep its players home if anything happens there between now and the start of the games next month. A lot of international players in that league, too. Katie McFarland's a Fox News security analyst. And good day to you. Michael McCaul just went to Sochi.
Yeah.
He was also in Moscow as well. First on the NHL, do you see people not going?
No, and I think,
or do they wait to see what happens?
Well, I think that's the whole thing. You know, prudence would dictate you wait to see what happens. If next week, early next week, there are a series of suicide attacks, maybe everybody will reconsider. But at this point, I don't think, if you don't go to these, we'll never have
do you think something will happen in Russia? I mean, you're pretty much outward with that and public. And if something doesn't happen on behalf of the terrorists, they're discredited, you believe. Explain
they're finished. You know, they've put videos out, they've put statements out, they've said they're hooked up now with Al-Qaeda, they've issued a fatwa, which is like a religious ruling saying it's okay to kill civilians. If nothing now happens, these guys look like wimps, you know. They look like they couldn't pull off what they said they were going to pull off. So I think something happens. Now, whether it's successful, whether it's foiled, I think it won't be inside the ring of steel because it's much harder to do something there, and it would be much easier to go for a soft target somewhere else in Russia.
Michael McCaul also made the point, I don't think this has gotten enough attention, frankly, that Zawahiri has essentially joined forces with this group out of Chechnya and Dagestan. What do you make of that?
That is actually huge, because we've always said this group, this nationalist group of Islamist terrorists, that's all Russia's problem. That's really not the world's problem. Those are just local guys who want the Russians out of their neighborhood, and so their attacks have always been just against Russians. If Al-Qaeda and Zawahiri are now in concert with them, they're kind of marrying up with each other, that means that this organization, the Chechen terrorists, now have global ambitions, which they perhaps didn't have before.
And I wonder, too, you know, the headline they're trying to grab when they know the world is watching.
You bet.
And the world is waiting.
We're all
see
sitting
if
here,
something does happen.
We're all sitting here with holding our breaths, thinking something's about to happen, something's about to happen. They've already won. They have already got the world media focused on them. So they've gotten to a certain extent, they've got noticed, they've gotten everybody scared, they've achieved some of their objectives. But if they don't do something that looks as serious as what the talk and chatter was in advance of this, I think they look pretty good.
We're 9 days away right now, and McCaul was over there and he's explaining what he saw, etc. There's another hot spot that needs an answer from you. And Hamid Karzai appears to be turning his back already on the American forces and the United States. What do you make of this reversal of loyalty, if you can even call it that?
Look, it's a time-honored Afghan tradition. He's switching sides in the middle of the fight. He was our friend while we were there. We were giving him money. He thought we were going to prevail. He now knows we're on our way out the door. What's he doing? He's trying to blame us for everything. So he can go to the Taliban, who he knows are coming next, and say, see, I was with you guys all along. You know why he's doing this? Because one of his predecessors, when the Taliban came in, his name was Mohammad Najibullah, president of Afghanistan, he was captured, tortured, mutilated, body dragged through the streets of Kabul in the back of a truck and hung upside down on a lamppost. Karzai doesn't want that to happen to him. So if he can't cut a deal with the Taliban, I think he's out of there. Suitcases full of gold on the last helicopter out.
Already protecting himself. Katie, thanks. More on that second topic soon. Katie McFarland in studio. Thank you.
Thank you.